title to my post. And then let me see when the feed comes up.
Up now.
I'm getting everybody's text messages right now. Let's see here. All right, I think, yes, we're live. Sweet. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
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 Yeah, thanks for jamming with us. So I just want to kick things off here. I'm Andy Burton. Hello, if you can't read from my my screen there. So, you know, everybody's wondering why you're here today. So with our platform, the Real Producers platform, our primary mission with our, you know, the publication, the events, everything is to connect, elevate, and inspire realtors and leaders in Chicago real estate, not help everybody to maintain their business, but really to grow and to thrive. And so I believe it's just a critical time that we band together, get the best of the best in town, and just work through our funky, unique situation that has happened the last 6 months. So the goal of rallying everybody, take a break from the quarantines. It's extremely difficult to gather in groups of 10 plus these days. So hey, Zoom, Facebook Live, this is the way we got to do it. This is the way we're going to do it. Share what is real in the market in town. My goal is to help you guys sharpen each other and elevate yourselves, but also people watching this, if they can glean something from this, fantastic. We can kill, I don't know how many people are on here, 10. We can kill more than 10 birds with one stone if people get some takeaways from this, and just, you know, of course, to share tips and strategies and strengthen our relationships. So why you guys? You're the best of the best. I mean, what I have found to be true of realtors is that they want each other to succeed. And I know this from your Facebook posts. You know, when somebody posts a listing or anything, you know, you always get 100 comments of, hey, it looks great, you know, to feed that algorithm. And so I would like everybody to very briefly, I'll go with the realtors first, introduce themselves, 10 seconds, name, brokerage, and then how long you've been in real estate. And let's see here, Sarah, you can go first, and then I'll have give the partners a chance to introduce themselves. So Sarah, go ahead.
Hi, Sarah Ware, Ware Realty Group, Southside. I've been licensed since 1997, but I do a lot of work with I'm certified as a minority and a woman-owned business, so I do a lot of government business.
Stephanie, go ahead. Oh.
Hi, Stephanie Wesson at Properties. I've been in the business since 2001.
That was perfect.
Nicole Duran at Properties, been in the business for 11 years.
I'm Erin Mandel. I'm also with At Properties. I've been in the business for about 15 years.
Chris, go ahead, sir.
Okay, so I'm Chris Laubach, and my wife and partner in business is Chris Stockwell. So we are Team Chris and Chris at Compass. I'll just say that I was in advertising, marketing for 30 years before joining her in business, and I've had my license almost 5 years now.
Very cool. And so with that, we are live. I'm making sure we got the stream going. Okay, cool. Partners. Now, here's what I want to say. Like, look, nothing what I do, as much as people love the publication, coming to our events and everything, nothing that I do is possible without our partners. And so they're not here today to sell themselves, but as realtors, as you are the best of the best in your field, they are the best of the best in theirs. And I really feel that they can just help add value in the sense of, you know, a facet of, you know, your business that there might be a hole in, or just answer questions. So I'm sure they'd be glad to connect with you after if you wanted, but you know, they're just, you know, everybody, when a real estate transaction's done, everybody knows sometimes you need 4 industries to make the deal go around. Sometimes you need 29. And so, you know, I want to give them a chance to introduce themselves very briefly. Crystal, I'll start with you because you were on first. Sorry, Michael, you snooze, you lose, man. Or is it Amanda? I don't know. Is it Amanda? I think maybe I'll start calling you that. Inside joke. So yeah, Crystal, name, company, and then yeah, how long you've been in your field for.
Sure. So Crystal Kurzynski out of Guaranteed Rate. I'm coming up on my 9-year anniversary in September. Kind of a unique role with the company. So just a little bit of history of those 9 years. I started out in a processing role and have transitioned into a loan officer role. So I have lots of expertise in the behind the scenes that goes on. So I'm excited to be able to help you guys answer any sort of questions of challenges that you've had lately with COVID and with the huge influx in our industry, what kind of delays you guys are seeing and how we can help you guys. So
Thank you much, Michael. Go ahead, my friend.
Michael Valente, Renovation Sells. I've been in the residential construction business for 14 years now.
And Maris, of course, save the best for last.
Hi guys, my name is Maris and I have been, my business is The Social Broker. I have a social media agency and monthly content membership exclusively for the real estate industry. I've had my business for about a year and a half, but I've been in communications for almost 15 years.
Great. And Maris was connected to us through a handful of realtors, and she does stuff for us too. So I was very impressed by, you know, her branding and what she does. So let's just jump into the bulk of it. So this is just a time. This is essentially where I shut up. I have found on these, if I talk, then the people get less and less out of them. Now, obviously, if there's a 32-second awkward pause, I will jump in and I have some conversation starters, but I have found that never, knock on wood, never really happens with, you know, type A caliber people wanting to, it's usually the opposite problem, which is a good problem to have. So I'm just going to open it up and just say, are there any nuances or just things that anybody has implemented over the past 6 months or even the past month? It doesn't really matter with COVID, you know, obviously in light of the everything happening at the end of May, even the looting, rallying, you know, ramping up. It seems there's always just something over the last 2 weeks. But is there any nuances or anything that anybody has implemented that that you know that anybody would be willing to share that they think would be beneficial to the group?
Yeah, I used to do events and have 100% of my marketing going towards big events and parties. I put all that budget into supporting local businesses and trying to find ways for my clients to save money. So I went in my CRM and did a complete real estate review and tried to find a way to save the money somehow. And I was actually able to find everyone somehow to save money. And now I think like all of that is coming full throttle right now. So all that businesses from all my business now that just hit me like a ton of like out of nowhere is all people I did those reviews for. And now I'm studying sustainability, trying to find ways for them to save money and also doing a lot of things locally and supporting local businesses. Because I'm in Logan Square and there's so many new businesses that are struggling and it's very sad because all the owners are so awesome in this neighborhood. So I'm just trying to do as much as possible. I mean, and that's it. I feel like it's a feel-good thing too, because type A, we all lost control. It was a little freaky, you know, with COVID, but that was like my way of giving back and sort of having some kind of control and doing good as well.
That's incredible. I actually have discovered, are you guys familiar with Luft balloons?
yeah.
No.
I am like obsessed with this Elaine. I think she is just like such an incredible woman. I think she has 3 kids, but she started that balloon collage where, you know, if people are celebrating a birthday or a graduation or anything, they put it outside of their home. And then a portion of the proceeds go to help to celebrate frontline workers and the Black Lives Matter movement and all of these. It's just, she's become so popular and so well known that they opened a storefront on Armitage.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like if I could write a love letter, it would be to Elaine. I think she is just like so incredible. So any opportunity I have for like a caravan open house, or if I have a client who has a celebration or any opportunity to like balloon up somebody's door, I'm like, hey, Elaine, it's me, Erin again.
Awesome.
Great.
So I did something a little different. It was more on the fitness. I'm an Orange Theory like person. So when they closed, I was a little sad, and then I got out of my routine. I wasn't feeling the greatest. So a friend of mine who used to play basketball, he started this 60-40 challenge. So it started like 5 of us meeting at a football field, and you sprint 60 yards, and then you jog the last 40. And so you do it for the first day you do 20 and then you go up to 45 and come back down. Squats, push-ups, sit-ups, and it's gotten so we've been on the news, Kwame Raoul, all these people, all of them come out, and so it's gotten really big. And you get a t-shirt when you make it. I'm like number 13, but it's gotten so big that now people are asking me what to do. But it helps me start my day to get up, get in the shower, get moving, because I'm an early riser. So they're out there from like 5 o'clock till 8, but I get there about 6, 5:30, 6 o'clock. But it helps start my day because dealing with clients, and you're in the house more than I usually am now. And so it kind of helps me start my day with clients and have more of my creative juices forward. So that's one of the things I've done. And then I'm South, my market is South, like South of Roosevelt. And so a lot of the unrest, it was just, just looking at that stuff every day kind of put you in some sort of a mood, but going and seeing everybody every day kind of helps you out. And then we've just been working with small businesses to kind of help them get back on their feet, because some of them, we found that a lot of them they didn't have the proper insurance. And so they needed help. They were barely in business as it was. And then this just kind of put them over. So your mind can be, you can be in a funk, or you can kind of turn that around and turn it into some positive. So I kind of like those balloons. I may get some balloons.
Yeah,
going.
definitely.
I have to say, balloons are just like a happy thing.
Yes.
They're not
expensive. Yes, because the day I finished my 60-40, they gave me balloons and flowers. It was just, because even though I told everybody and I wanted balloons, but balloons and I kept them in my room for like a week, kind of like Kramer when he was like, those are my day balloons. So I was like, yeah, balloons. So I think I can give her a call, get some business and balloons.
But aren't you guys experiencing, like, I'll just say in certain price points, I'm so busy and I'm in multiple offers that I can't even believe it, that I'm in, like, there's such a tight bubble of multiple offers. And I'm like having conversations with clients whereby I'm saying, this is just, we're 20% above market. And I just can't in good faith tell you to make this type of decision at this point, because it just doesn't feel good. We're in a bit of an economic dislocation, and you always want to do the best by we have a fiduciary. So it's just such an interesting time.
What was that you said again? A fiduciary? What did you say? What?
Sarah, that is my educated dialogue.
I know, but I was just saying, I don't know if people know that, but fiduciary.
We have a responsibility to, protect our clients.
Erin, you got to stop using big words. Okay.
I'm going to scale it back.
I just spoke with an agent yesterday in California, and she mentioned that her sellers are getting 30 to 40 offers in like 3 days, and it's like 15 to 20% above market. And I was like, what? I mean, that's crazy. But I agree with you, Erin. It's sort of like you want them to get the place, but at what cost? So
right. And I'm not a kind of person to everyone has their best practice, but I believe also in a first-time home buyer environment, to waive inspection, waive appraisal, waive those types of things that feel like a very important step in the transaction. I feel like the buyer needs to feel educated and really understand the process.
Yes.
I have a question for you realtors. I mean, if I hear that there's lots of multiple offer situations going on, what type and where, what type of product are you guys seeing that on? Like, what's the percent of either your listings or your buyers that you're seeing that competition in any particular area?
Well, I'm in mine, Bronzeville condos that are rehab, that are crisp and right at the 350, 250, 350. I just got an offer only because I knew the agent. I was in before the open house. I begged. She knew the vendor.
I would like to see your bag. What does it look like?
That will be episode 2. That will be episode 2.
You should just make a video template of begging to submit with your offers.
And I didn't want to go super over. It was just more of a closing cost over the asking, and nothing, too much over that, because she's a first-time home buyer. We had been looking. I knew the price was great, and the agent was that was her house. So I was like,
But aren't you feeling too, like, just to speak to like the multiple offer situation, like if the home is absolutely, what I'm finding is it has to be perfect.
Yes.
Move-in ready. Nobody wants to do anything. And if there's something like tongue-in-cheeky about the property, like an avocado green painted, shelving unit or something that's like a little kitschy, like people are like, oh my goodness, this is revolutionary. Let's go.
We have some families for that, but yes, it's true. It has
And
to
to
have a
your
little-
point, Erin, you don't want to go too far over because they're coming back to us to resell this. You're like, well, you sold it to me. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yes.
At least we know paint, as Michael Amanda can speak to us about this, it can change.
Michael Amanda.
Michael Amanda, yeah, paint goes a long way, guys. I'm the biggest proponent of that. Paint
One
the
of the
world.
things we found though is a lot of first-time home buyers in these multiple bid situations, and I'm thinking we've had listings around 350, 500 single-family homes, and we have found with the multiple bids, people do come in way over just to win it, and then either during AI
They renegotiate.
they jump too fast, or they just assume, oh, in a month when it doesn't appraise, we'll renegotiate. And I think we have to be really even better counselors to our sellers to
Oh yeah.
vet those buyers and try to sniff out someone who's really just trying to win, but they're not really ready to buy it. They just want to win. You know what I mean?
Is there, are you guys seeing appraisal issues though? If you have all these multiple offers in the buyers, are they not appraising out?
Oh yeah.
I've had a handful of them come in low. I had one come in $5,000 under. I'm like, really?
5,000 under?
5,000 under. And I'm like, and it was multiple offers too. So, and we didn't even go over, we went $1,000 over asking. We just had really good terms. And this guy, I'm just like, okay, I'm not using your appraisers anymore. And it sucks because the lender is really good. But as far as the appraisal, have you guys done on the listing side an acceleration clause for the appraisal? Like, okay, you want to put in an offer $40,000 over asking. If it doesn't appraise out, how much more money can you bring to the table to get it to close? And so it's an acceleration clause like that. And that's how, if that number isn't like the value where I think it appraise out, then I really push not to take that.
Yeah, that's
they're
wonderful.
just trying to get it. You're so right.
Yes. Maris, what has been going on in social media as far as the COVID? I'm just curious as to, like, what have you been doing social media wise?
Yeah, so I think in the beginning,
everybody's wrong on social media. They're putting up other people's properties and not tagging. I'm like, people. So
yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning, everybody was video because it was suddenly the only way to connect face to face with, your clients and your colleagues. And I think, a lot of people have just been looking for ways to get more creative. And I am seeing people do more kind of local business support and really kind of embracing it. I think that the real estate industry was one of the last sort of holdouts to really fully embrace social media because it is such a one-on-one relationship driven business. And, I know when I worked at properties, we used to say relationships are everything. And, it's the relationships are paramount to all else. And I think for a while, the thought was, well, we don't want to replace that relationship with social media. But now I think that there's an industry-wide kind of, agreement that it's not something that's going to replace the relationships you have with your clients. It's actually a way to kind of amplify those relationships and to stay in touch where your clients are without being intrusive. Since, email, that's still something that is, you're sending them an email and you're asking them to open an email that's all about you and their inbox. Calls, text, cards are all great, but social media is where they're already hanging out. So if you can be there and if you can be staying top of mind every time they open up Instagram or they open up Facebook, then you're the first person they'll think of when they do need, need an agent or a referral. A lot of my clients have said, no, it's not that leads are pouring in through my Instagram inbox, but I am hearing more often from clients who I didn't used to hear from. So I think it's just that, one more way to stay in touch with people.
I think importantly, put your properties and such on there too, because with COVID and a lot of companies trying writers and things like that, I tell my clients it's really the first in-person showing is really the second showing because they're going through the video, the plan, seeing all the pictures. And so I think it's more important to do that because of things. So
for sure. And I think even with with social media, people are taking, local publications, the kind of consumer magazines, their dynamic is changing because, when you think about the glossy magazines that people pick up in, downtown Chicago, I don't want to I want to be careful how I word this, but with so many local businesses struggling right now because of the shutdowns, their advertising budgets are stripped. So they're not able to, advertise in the magazines and in the, the sort of the traditional media that they used to. So for realtors, those opportunities are going to be slimmer because the publication sizes are smaller and they're not able to, some of the magazines are shifting to every other month or 4 times a year instead of publishing every month. So there's fewer opportunities to do that traditional advertising, and people are funneling that budget into digital marketing, social media, and, more kind of online ways to stay relevant.
Are you seeing the, not that if anyone does this, the bottle of champagne just closed? My clients are crazy. They don't want to be on social media. They don't even want to be on the MLS. So, what are you seeing as far as posting, like, a value? Like, they like, I'm signing NDAs with my clients. And so they, like, from that perspective, what are you seeing that's getting, not even getting traction, but value?
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, that would be stats or whatever, but not just listed, just
yeah. Well, and
if anyone does that, that's great. But I mean, when you have clients that are just, they don't even want to be tagged on anything.
Yep. I think it's good to do a little bit of that, right? I mean, you are real estate agents, so you do need to post about real estate, about the properties that you're listing and selling. But, I always say it's about why are your clients going to hire you? It's not because you list, I mean, it might be because of the types of homes that you list in a certain neighborhood, but chances are it's not because, of those posts that they just listed. If somebody's going to see you on social media and call you or see you again on social media, I had a client recently who's listing a home or I know she had a lead through social media from somebody she hadn't talked to in 10 years who only follows her on Facebook and has seen all of the, the posts and all of the stuff and that we've been posting and, a lot of content specific to the neighborhood. And he said, I see you do a lot of business in this area. Do you want to come do a listing presentation for me? And, that's all from the social media content that she's been posting. It's also really important to post about you because social media, people will call you, people will reach back out when they feel like they know you from social media. Like even on my Instagram, there are agents in other cities who I've never met before who I would call if I was in their city to have coffee because I feel like I know them. And that's kind of the feeling that you want to curate on your social media feeds, is that people feel like they know you just from scanning and scrolling what you're posting. No, you don't need to be have a photographer following you around all day. There are some marketers who say, right, there's some marketers who say it needs to be all about you. I say, you're not a reality TV star. You do not need to have every single post like selfie, but you do need to show up in your feed. And it's good for people to see glimpses of your personality mixed in with all of that, all of that real estate content. And then it becomes about, you can tell your clients' stories without having all the pictures of the, people in front of the house with the keys.
Even if you're a Green Bay fan?
Oh, wow.
Or no comment.
Smart, Maris, smart.
I think social media.
We love Erin. We love Erin and all. We're just trying to convert her.
Social media is, it's probably a necessary. I find it to be a necessary evil. For me, it's it's super. I still have a private account on Instagram. I just find that it's so intrusive. But I do think that it's important to showcase our listings, especially open houses. And as we get through, who knows what fourth quarter is going to bring in terms of our restrictions. So I think that Stephanie, that was very poignant. I mean, literally, if people are walking through the door, you have made the short list.
Yeah, but what I like about social media is, we are all brands.
Sure.
Yes, our brokerages are brands, but we are too. And social media is the easiest way to just get a reminder out there. One, that you're a realtor, which in the switching industries has been really important. I need to get that balance of, I'm still the marketing guy, but I'm now a realtor. And it's a chance for them to see kind of how you work, or get a sense how you work. If you're casual, or you try to make it fun, or if you're, slick and serious, it is the best way for you to manage your brand, and people to trip over it and keep you in mind. So
right. And a lot of people, I didn't mean to cut you off, Chris. I would say a lot of people, have, I do, one of my products is a membership where everybody gets the same content every month, and people say, well, I don't want to look like everyone else. But to your point, Chris, it is about your brand. So sure, I might say, hey, here are 5 vocab terms to share, or here are 5 different, posts that you can modify to be, to be your own. But really it's about, who you are, what it's like to work with you, and sharing those kind of behind the scenes glimpses. There are only so many ways to say it's the first day of fall, or happy spring market. It's spring market's kicking off, but it's really about how
July.
Right. It's really who you are and what value you bring.
Stop with the turn back your clock thing. Let's
I think that was a CB. I think that was a CB generated. Those were hilarious, because I think at once I would probably get like 110 in my inbox. I'd be like, "Is it daylight savings?"
I have to interject here. So I have a meme, and this is just me, because most everybody knows here I'm pretty dry and I don't really take anything seriously. I have a meme that says, like, after daylight savings time, I have a meme that I post almost every year. It says, "Thanks for reminding me to change my clocks that change themselves," like almost every year.
Well, and the other thing that I always laugh at is, okay, how many people really need their realtor to tell them it's time to clean your closet? It's like spring cleaning, everyone, this year, especially with COVID and everybody was home. I'm like, I don't really, I really like my realtor, and I don't want her to tell me it's time to clean my house. I know it's time to clean my house.
Yeah, I think it's important for you to ask your question, like, what kind of realtor do you want to be? Do you want to be the one that gives out recipes on Thanksgiving, or do you want to do something like you find a bakery that's struggling and, buy everyone pies that way? I feel like if you're doing good and giving back, or telling them a way they could save some money or give information, because I hate being like on video I'm literally been trying to do it on social media and even start social media. So I feel like that's really important.
Yeah, and also to your point, it's about adding value. And then also, like you said, if you're a workout person, share that workout of the day, or say, hey, I'm taking 10 people to Orange Theory, DM me and I'll buy you a free class. Or, if you are a foodie and you do love to cook, then like round up the pie recipes and buy, do a client appreciation gift, and it's like a pie tin with your homemade handwritten grandma's recipe. It's really about, and then post that picture on social media. It's really about taking your personality and what makes you different, and kind of weaving that through your social presence.
I have a question for the class. So I'm curious to know if anybody's implemented some new best practices. I've noticed I'm generally a small shop. I tend to only keep like 6 to 8 listings and then 6 to 8 buyers, because I really like to be involved, detailed with each client. And we at this time have like north of 25 listings, just because of the way the market has kind of, ebbed and flowed. And it feels, what we're doing every Wednesday is we go through all of our deals and all our transactions in ways in which we can improve or market better, just to make sure that we're, doing our best by all of our clients. But is anybody else experiencing, a shift in the way in which your business is being, run? Are you running your business, or is your business running you, type of a mentality, I suppose?
I'm small as well, but I have picked up, the government is actually doing more contracts now, and I'm interviewing for a virtual assistant. I had a in-house and she moved, so I'm trying this new, but this is an executive assistant. They're not $5 an hour, so I have like 3 people to interview. So I'm looking into that to see how that goes, and they're assigned to you, so it's not like Fiverr or anything like that, because I needed a dedicated person. But I'll probably mix that up with someone else as well. So I'm reluctantly looking into that, but due to COVID, I'm trying to be more virtual and just to get more comfortable with that, because that's what clients are doing, and hopefully that'll get me more comfortable in the long run with meetings, things like that.
Michael, are you really busy?
Yes.
Like so busy you can't even stand it. You're like, I can't even make this hour. Like, I'm going to do it, but it's just, I feel like all my contractors, all my trades are just extremely busy. All of the stagers are really busy.
Everybody.
Like
Yeah.
everyone just
Photographers, everyone.
Our business, I mean, just like you guys, you know, Renovation Sells is tied to the sales market. So we had about a 6-week period, just like everybody, from March to April, that we just died because we didn't know what was going on. Everybody was holding. But then, you know, we had the busiest June and July that we've ever had. Not, you know, we're a 3-year-old company, so it's not a lot, but, you know, we're crushing last year. I thought we were going to be flat from last year, but we're probably up 30%. I mean, just like you guys said before, you know, when I asked that question, what's moving, and you're saying stuff that's in perfect condition, that's ready to go. I mean, and that's what we do. You know, we quickly come in and prep the houses. So I think we just kind of came off of our high. We were doing about 20 projects at one time, which was a lot for us. But I think it's good, and the stuff that we're touching is selling. So to answer your question, Erin, yes, we're busy. All home service businesses are busy. Not just us. What's that?
Yeah, good ones. Good ones.
The good ones, Stephanie. Yes, Stephanie. The good ones are busy. But everybody's doing
Thanks for
updates.
clarifying.
Everybody's doing updates to their home. You know, it's and I turn down business almost every day that doesn't fit in our box of prepping for sale. And the guys that I'm trying to give that business to are busy. So everybody's busy.
Don't you feel like gone are the days of 36-inch cherry cabs and Uba Tuba granite? She gone.
I know. You know, sometimes I feel bad. Sometimes I feel bad because when in like the 07, 08, 09, like I was putting in cherry cabinets, Uba Tuba. I was that I'm picking out and you know, and poo pooing. So.
I also
sorry, Erin, go ahead.
No, just one last funnier comment. I worked for a developer for a good period of time, and you know, we had a series of upgrades, and now I'm on the buy side looking at those developments, and some of the listing agents will say, and this was a, you know, Belgravia upgrade level 12. I'm like, well, I don't know if we had that level.
Tan brown granite was the Belgravia upgrade number 12 in 2009.
That's so funny.
That's a big thing that I think all of us are probably advising our clients too, especially if you're a seller. It's like money is so cheap. People would rather level up, spend more money to get a completely turnkey space as opposed to the Uba Tubas and the Brazilian cherry and all that, that's where you.
I think it goes to Maris's point, and this is what I preach to all the realtors I come in contact with, right? Is that your first showing is online. So if you're not putting your best foot forward with the proper pictures and the proper look, that, you know, you're really doing yourself a disservice because you're not going to generate as much traffic. And the second thing is in the COVID world, in my opinion, in the conversations I've had with the realtors, is that, you know, buyers aren't necessarily browsing anymore when they're going to actually see a unit. You know, they're serious buyers. So, you know, the first step is, you know, get the good pictures, put your best foot forward online to try to get those legit buyers to come into your listing to tour it for real. So you know, that's what we always preach. Let's just get that look that everybody's looking for, and then that will drive the traffic to your listing and hopefully give you the best chance of selling it as fast as possible for as much.
So has that mom fuel kicked in? I'm just wondering, have you seen, like, what's the, like, you're at guaranteed rate as far as applications on the refi or the buy, because I know everyone wants to do one or the other.
Yeah.
What I hear.
Yeah, so I was actually going to ask you guys some time management strategies because obviously.
Time management.
Yeah.
Alex, what is that?
We have seen obviously an insane influx in refinance transactions just because of where the interest rates are at. Yeah. So to the point where Guaranteed Rate has set up like separate underwriting pipelines for purchases and refinances so that we can make sure that, you know, in insane times where, you know, purchases, they're wanting to close as quickly as possible. And we're having to, you know, make sure that we're taking care of our appraisers and setting them up for success with the volume that they're dealing with. So yeah, it's twofold, you know, where both pipelines are going crazy right now. And it's just about managing the time of making sure that you set expectations up front with your realtors and your clients of this is what it is right now. This is how long it takes to get it done, so that, you know, you're not setting them up for difficult conversation towards the end of that mortgage contingency or contract. But yeah, it's very busy times, and time management is definitely at top of mind for me right now.
What percentage do you have that's purchases versus refis right now, you personally?
Personally, I would say it's a 25-75, mostly refinances right now.
Yeah, I'm finding that too. I feel like a lot of people that purchased their first home with me are holding refinancing that asset, and then, you know, they've saved excess money for their move up buy. And I'm like, you know, look, if the rental will allow it and you can cash flow, that's so wonderful. But I do see that a lot, that they're not wanting to sell that original, because they probably purchased it, you know, 4 or 5 years ago when it was still like, you know, an okay time to, and they purchased at a reasonable price.
Right. Yep, that makes sense for sure.
And are you putting the purchases sort of as a priority first?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what you get from most lenders as well.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, you know, guaranteed rates set up separate underwriting pipelines so that we can streamline that process for them. Of course, you know, when it comes to appraisals, we're seeing a lot of appraisal waivers just with Fannie and Freddie. You know, they're saying, skip it. It looks good to us. Let's move forward. So that's been really helpful, especially with purchases. And then updated guidelines with COVID as well are giving us some flexibility with appraisals. So for purchases, if it's a conforming loan, we're good to go with a desktop appraisal where they don't have to set up an appointment, and they don't have to come out. So it takes away the step of, you know, scheduling with everyone, seller's agent and whatnot. So that's been helpful as well. But yeah, definitely prioritizing the purchases. Those are time sensitive. Refinance clients, I'm telling them, you know, it's going to take 2 months. Who knows? So, but yeah, it's been a crazy influx of business for sure.
How long would you say is like a good day to put for mortgage contingency?
Mortgage contingency, I would say, you know, to be realistic, if your sellers are flexible, give yourself 30 days.
30 days, yeah.
Yeah. In very, you know, tight situations, you could probably get it done in 15, 20, but I would say 30 days is more realistic if you've got it. Yeah.
And how are you guys handling open houses? Like, are you, like, for example, for me, if I'm doing an open house and the home is like bigger, then it's not that big of an issue because then I can start somebody upstairs and then start another person downstairs. But that's rare in the urban market. In the urban market, you're getting a lot of like less square footage. Are you holding people like sometimes I hire somebody at the door to hold people and then, you know, kind of allow, I mean, I'm shocked. Like, we had an open house at a townhome on Sunday and 14 people came through. So I just managing expectations of health and making sure that everybody's good and questions are being answered. Plus I wear a mask. So it's like, you can't really like see anything. They're like, you're frowning. I'm like, no, I'm smiling. Also the assessments are great.
Hey,
Also,
Erin, I'm glad Erin, I'm glad you asked that, because I would be curious to hear. That's actually on one of my questions if the conversation comes to a lull. But I'd be curious to hear everybody's opinion on that, because I think this is a topic that we can kind of dive into and get takeaways and positive things from everybody. So,
I guess what I'll say is, in the beginning of all this, we were very, you know, shy about having open house because obviously safety first, and I care very much about obviously myself and my family, and I've, you know, just started a whole new life, and I also have a team that's, you know, wants to stay safe. But I do find that people want to touch and feel their home. I mean, this is a highly emotional business transaction, so I think that as much as I have some people who are okay to buy sight unseen, so that's happened too. I think that people like to just like feel the deal. They like to be in that space. So I think as much as possible, we have to do it within reason, right?
Did anybody have did anyone have any experience early on doing any virtual open houses?
I've had 0 virtual open houses. I find that they're kind of
Waste.
yeah. I think to me, for me, it seems like a waste. Like I'm happy we've gone through each home and done a virtual tour. So if anybody would like that before they come into the home physically, totally okay. I've done like more than 5, but less than 10 sight unseen transactions this year. So that's been pretty wild.
How do I handle that with concern for the people? Before COVID, I had some clients that were in Singapore. They were expats coming back to Chicago. Well, there's no way they're going to take that long of a flight to come and do showings, inspections, et cetera. So this was before the whole virus and things. And so we gave it some levity there, and we were very thorough with things. And then to answer your question, I'm too old to do the technology. Like I'm trying to embrace it, but we have a couple of Gen Zers that really did the virtual open houses very successfully, where they had like the QR code and then the Facebook Live in, and I totally commend that. If it works for you, it's great, and it helps the sellers if you do it. But much like you're saying is, I always look like, within 15 seconds if you like that house, if you go into it. A home has a soul, and it's where you're going to be living, and it's residential, I should say, not commercial. But and so I agree with you, where I think if we can create that opportunity for open houses, be respectful of space and safety and things like that. I think also in general, people are having a lot more temperance and a lot more
like grace and kindness and like understanding that we're all human.
Yes, and it's just maybe a little bit more patience, especially when you have meetings for Zoom calls and you have a talking child and a barking dog in the background. We're all kind of doing it together. So I think there is a little bit more grace there. And then the same for the open house, where people are a little more patient with the process. It's been our experience. So.
And I think business is all about expectation though, right? I mean, expectation with the seller, expectation with the client, expectation with, colleagues, making sure, and also, just presenting I think the takeaway this year is just presenting a nearly perfect product. And if you don't have that, it's just.
Swipe left. Swipe left.
Well, that's right.
That's right, Stephanie.
Right or left?
I have my minimal experience with that swipe action, but I will tell you.
Well executed, Stephanie. That was well executed. That was great.
It's the best comment of this entire.
I'm gonna erase all the copy on the post and just put swipe left. It's just gonna be, it's all it's gonna be. I love it.
I have a question just again for the realtors. I mean, what's obviously no one has a crystal ball, but I think the markets have been very busy, and I'm sure you guys are having great years. I mean, what are is there a timetable on this? Is there some time that people are saying, I got to do it now, October, we're going away, or November? Like when do we think that this is going to stop? Because at some point I feel like, especially over the winter, and again, I'm not seeing the day-to-day traffic like you guys are, but it's just not sustainable. Like at some point it should shut down. But what do you think, Stephanie? Yes, swipe left.
This is an unpopular opinion, and I realize we are salespeople and advocates, et cetera, but I'm sort of a math and science dork and just looking at things. And, we do have a very strong market right now. It's, people are touting the 8% over last year, et cetera. A lot of that was pent up demand. It's where we've been able to do things between March and May, or March and April, May. And, people are capitalized on rates and everything else too, but we have to look at a lot of these big, small businesses took $1 million loans out, and their agreements were to keep their employers employed. Right. Future forward, I'll be curious to see what happens in October and November and December when, they have their deal is up and they don't have to keep their people employed. I'm thinking of like airlines and things like that. And I just think there will probably be, I'm not a chief economist, nor do I play one on TV, but I think that we're going to see this sort of aggregate burden building up, and then we'll probably see a little bit more inventory coming on. And it'll be a very interesting season, let's just say. And then we have a little thing called an election in November too. So that'll be interesting as well.
There's an election going on?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. Sure, yeah. So.
Is it a big one coming up? I don't know.
I think so.
Local school council or something like that.
A local
Yeah, local school.
That's right.
I think we had some children, we have to kind of figure.
But a follow up to that though, are buyers, do buyers feel like there's like a shot clock? Are they like, oh, I got to move now, or it's going to stop? Or like, what are the buyers saying?
That's a good question.
I think buyers are just trying to, my buyers, I try not to get caught up because I said the best time to buy a house is when you are ready. Don't try to time the market. Don't try to do all this because it's not a gamble. But I think people are looking at race as they think the election or once the vaccine comes out, they're timing those things, and then more and more people are looking into different options. I think that's part of it because it used to be if you were looking in the city, you only want to live in the city, but now with people's jobs are remote. And if they feel like their jobs are coming back into the city area, they may move to the suburbs because if it's a 2-day-a-week commute as opposed to a 5-day, they're more open. They're seeing that they love their family, but they didn't love them as much as they wanted to with COVID because they're all on top of each other. Like Crystal, you're in your nursery, and so they're seeing the need for other spaces. And so people that were not open to the suburbs are being more open. Not saying they're moving right away, but that is a thought process, especially with the pricing, what you can get for the same thing. So I think people are just doing the wait and see game. They're looking at the election, a vaccine for COVID. There's, buyers that were ready are looking at inventory because they may fear that something else is coming out better because there's such a shortage. And so it's just, it just depends on who your buyer is, but I try not to play that hurry up, it's going to be gone, and that fear factor. But it is, I think, like Stephanie was saying, once the market gets more inventory, I think it'll soften up a bit. Rates may stabilize a bit, but I think the word is that the rates are going to be kept low. And so that's kind of my take on it. Because I'm kind of in Lawrence Yun, he spoke about it and he said something, even though some people say they listen to him and they do the opposite of what he says. So, but I just kind of watch all the economists, but no one really knows. But I think it's just tied to what human habits are. And like the PPP loans, let's see what happens when they're like the 8 weeks are up and you're trying to get a grant, you have to pay them back and you have no business. What does that look like? Because from the commercial corridors, like on the south side, people are really trying to, they have 2 RFPs that went out for a lot of buildings, but they're trying to make that more vibrant because they know that brings residential. And so that's what it's going to depend on the small business community. That's my opinion.
I think obviously every market is local. And I also think that we've just indefinitely, probably for the not short term, changed the way we live.
Yes.
So I think that, as you're in your nursery, I'm in my dining room, but we have built a beautiful open concept home. I mean, that is dynamite, especially when you are trying to work and have school and all types of things, but things we just didn't anticipate last year when we were, trying to figure out our next best place. And I think as people don't go back to, their desk job and they're working from home, I think people are going to look for, more space. But I do believe that Chicago is extraordinarily resilient. And I do believe that the downtown and surrounding areas will maintain some type of stability. And the people that are not leading with fear, but leading with confidence will, continue to move forward because this is an approachable, reasonable way to live instead of like, oh my goodness, it's time to move to the suburbs. Not that the suburban market isn't great. It's just that it's Chicago.
I mean, Sterling Bay, they just got a project approved. So I'm like, oh, they're staying and I'm following them. Like they're building a hotel, which is an industry that's really down right now. So they have some sort of thought process. So I saw, and then that West Loop, I think was that approved or some West Loop tower. So people are still putting cranes in the sky. So as long as cranes are still putting out stories that people are coming into the city, I'm just watching that because that's kind of what drives the market. I know at the end, I have a quick question. And Erin, you remember like being on the board, we know the members. So we are over 16,000 realtors. We're getting about 100 over. We are over 16,000 members now. We're getting approximately 100 to 150 agents, new agents a month. And so I know we're all busy.
Isn't that crazy?
And it's only like maybe 20 or 30 that are terminating, which is crazy. That I don't think that's sustainable as well. At the height of the market, I think we're at 20,000, and at the lowest, we were at 10, like back in 2005. So from business all over, it'd just be interesting to see, we won't mention names or companies or anything, but what do you see? Because we're all busy, but with 16,000 agents, low inventory, that is not a sustainable pace. Because I think people are looking for something different. I've talked to people that are doing their furlough checks or their stimulus checks and starting doing, what in the next 3 years do you think that that's going to be an issue coming through, like at properties? I'm sure you all have, it's a larger brokerage anyway, so I'm just wondering from a new broker, have you all ran into any issues across the board for, like, if it's a listing, you may go up against more agents now, or do you know, or just doing a transaction with a newer agent, because there's a lot of agents coming in every month?
I still think that the top 1% still does the top amount of business, meaning that the people who are willing to work the hardest and are the most, I would like to think the people that are the most ethical and the most well-grounded and the most, see the deal through are the people who will maintain through these times, because at the end of the day, you're still handling someone's largest financial transaction, at least initially. And I mean, the people who are earnest by it will, carry on through these markets. But I did talk to Michelle the other day. That's the CEO of CAR, and she shared with me that the membership was up so dramatically, which is wild. I think it looks really good on TV, right? Like people are like,
don't even
pick 3 homes. Look at the hardwood floors. Pick one. Let's do this.
I don't think people
rehab in 2 days and tear walls.
Sacrifice, though. I don't think people get like how much hustle it is, though, and how much you have to sacrifice. They just see our lifestyle, our home and our car, like they just see that and they're like, I want that. I have the couple
they don't see my car.
Tried it and did not stick with it.
Or how about the granola bar that you're eating that like the chocolate like melted a little bit because your showing went a little long and then it like melted on your seat. So you're like, I like take my finger and lick up the chocolate part so that I have a little bit of extra nutrients to get to the next go.
And that's lunch. That's your lunch for the day.
They don't see the no eating, no drinking water for the entire day because you're moving so consistently. They don't see that.
Or the showings and you're like, okay, I have to use the bathroom. How do I play this?
Where do you go?
I would be interested to know if these new agents are switching careers versus starting out in real estate. Because I feel like since a lot of jobs and a lot of careers, are suffering right now, real estate is almost the default. Oh, I could do that. I see it on TV. That looks easy. I don't think it's necessarily, wow, I can make a lot of money doing it.
Nope.
It's like by default, oh, that's something I could do, and I want to do something.
And
great question.
Kim Curtis, she was saying that people are want to do something different. I think this virus has kind of shifted people's mindsets, and so they look at real estate as it's a low barrier to entry, and what can they lose by it?
That's also a problem.
That's a whole nother panel discussion, but that's what they were seeing, like, you just want to do something different, or if you laid up or you took an early severance package and like, hey, let me just try this. So it's not, like you said, it's not necessarily monetary, but it's more doing something different. So I think those are artificial numbers. Maybe after 3 years, they may say, you know what, yeah.
I call it social Darwinism.
Wait, say it again.
Social Darwinism. It happened 2008 to 2012.
Yes.
You know the numbers more than I do. But it was this peak of, hey, I used to sell 2 lead pencils. I can sell a house. It's like, what? So, and back to you, it's all about relationships. It's not just clicking a button that, hey, I want to buy this thing. It's about relationships and
trust now more than ever, right? Because things are so uncertain. So I think you really have to, be aligned with people who, have your back.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a good, what do you guys think? I think that's a great stopping point. I want to be sensitive to everybody's schedule. So hold on real quick before we go. You guys need to smile. Well, I mean, I can't like physically go to where you're at and make you smile, but I would request if you could smile, show some teeth. And 2, 3. All right. That screenshot may or may not be in the next issue of RP. I'm gonna cut the live feed right now, and then I will get live stream. Thanks for joining us if you were watching.
Bye, guys.